I'd like to call this meeting of the Coventry Town Council to order at 6 p.m. Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua is absent. Councilmember Capaldi. Here. Councilmember Shockley. Here. Vice President LeBlanc.
Here.
President Lima.
Here, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In the event of an emergency, those present this evening can exit out doors labeled either number 1 or 2 to the back parking lot or front lawn of Town Hall. Moving on to meeting minutes from prior meetings, we have the March 19th, 2024 open session minutes. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Vice President LeBlanc.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Shockley. Any discussion? I'm sorry. Was it Capaldi?
No. You should.
Oh, I thought I said woman, sorry. Council Member Shockley. Discussion, Madam Clerk, did you receive any edits? There's no further discussion. Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Capaldi.
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley.
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes.
4 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative. Motion passes.
Okay. Public acknowledgements and commendations. We have the recognition of the Coventry Parks and Rec Department. If anyone who's present for the department wants to come forward, that would be great. Don't be shy. So we have a proclamation here. It reads, whereas the Coventry Parks and Recreation Department is dedicated to providing opportunities and events for all of our residents, and whereas their goal is to be inclusive of all ages so all members of the town of Coventry feel a part of their community and are able to participate and attend. And whereas the dedication and devotion of all staff to maintain parks, fields, and playgrounds, plan events, and create new programming epitomizes their talent, desire, and motivation. And whereas the Parks and Recreation Department continues to evolve and offer more programming and events as the town's needs grow. And whereas they have brought the community together for such events as the 4th of July celebration with live bands, fireworks, and food trucks, the summer concert series, the National Night Out in coordination with our police department, and our Halloween spectacular with a haunted house, dancing witches, and lots of candy. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Hillary Lima, Council President of the Town of Coventry, confirms the Coventry Town Council recognize and congratulate the Coventry Parks and Recreation Department for being voted the Department of the Year by the Rhode Island Park and Recreation Association. In testimony whereof, and on behalf of the Honorable Town Council, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the town to be affixed this 23rd day of April 2024. Come on. Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Director Blumenthal, if you could just talk about the Rhode Island Association and what this means and how this all works, so everybody knows.
Absolutely.
And introduce who you have with you.
Oh, we have to stay.
So the Rhode Island Parks and Recreation Association is comprised of all the municipalities and some private organizations that focus on recreation in Rhode Island. I'm actually the treasurer of the board. I have been for the past 4 terms. What they do is they offer education and the terms of parks and recreation for staff. They offer scholarships for education. They offer grants for pickleball and other items. So it's a really great organization and a great resource for all the municipalities. And there were several entries for this category, and our peers of all the Parks and Recreation Department recognized us as the best.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I just have to say what a testament it is to see that you and your department achieved this feat, given where you were in pandemic when your budget was drastically reduced, and what the way that you scratch and claw and get creative and figure out how to meet the needs and the requests of this community is truly remarkable. So thank you for that. Any further discussion from members of the council? Councilmember Shockley.
I just wanted to congratulate you. I think I watched exactly what President Lima just mentioned, where your budget was getting so drastically cut. And I think people don't quite understand the benefit you are to families in this community, where childcare can be made affordable in the summer and during school vacations. And then on top of that, the other activities that you throw in plan. I would hate to think of what would happen if another year had happened, like the last time your budget was cut. And instead, we've been able to kind of bring you to a funding level that brings you to this level of recognition. So, so proud of you guys. Really happy for you.
Thank you. I want to thank the members of the council because you really supported us and believed in us as a team, and this is what happened. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all that you do. Moving on to public comment on docketed items only. Are there any members of the public who'd like to make a public comment on docketed items that are on our agenda? Please come forward to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. Any members of the public on Zoom, raise your hand to be let in. State your name and address for the record. Public comment on docketed items only, items that are on the agenda. Going once, going twice, 3 times. Public comment on docketed items is closed. Moving on to licenses. Item A, new mobile food establishment license, Longshore Coffee LLC yearly license. This is on pages 14 to 15 in our packet. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Vice President LeBlanc.
I'll second it.
Second by Councilmember Shockley. Discussion. Is there anyone here for this license? Welcome. Just introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your business.
Hi, my name is Stephen Miller. I'm the owner of Longshore Coffee. I actually used to be a public school teacher in Providence for about 6 years, teaching kids how to create businesses. And I decided to launch this business in 2021 after a student was like, "Yo, Mr. Miller, why don't you actually do what you're telling us how to do?" So during that year, I left teaching, I launched the business, and I have been running Longshore Coffee just as a roastery for the past 2.5 years. I have a mobile cart, a coffee cart, where I sell cold brew, hot coffee. I used it at farmers markets for about 1.5 years, and then I switched to a different setup for the farmers markets, but I kept the cart. I just renewed the license for the cart, so it is good to go through 2025, through the end of April of that year. And we last year bought a family member of mine bought a building here in Coventry with the goal of turning it into a brand new coffee shop and a roastery for Longshore. We went through the process to get the building permit, to get everything approved with planning and zoning. And we recently started construction a few months ago. Construction is slated to wrap up this summer. And in the meantime, I plan to run the cart just on that property to promote the business, to sell coffee, and to just get to know the neighborhood a good bit more and provide coffee to people on the way to work in Coventry. So that is what I would like to do. And I already submitted everything to the town clerk, the mobile food establishment application. I have a copy of the renewed business license as well, which was also sent to the town clerk's office earlier this week. And I would be glad to answer any questions you guys have. But otherwise, I'm excited to become a part of this town.
Excellent. Vice President LeBlanc.
Just want to say thank you to you and your family for choosing Coventry to have your business. So thank you.
My pleasure.
Councilmember Shockley.
And just to verify, are you near Liberty Fence?
Right next door. Yeah, that's me.
Okay, I saw construction going on there today, so you've answered my curiosity question.
I'm glad you saw something because I haven't seen those guys over there.
In fairness, I saw that construction was happening.
Okay.
But it was on my way here, so it was
Gotcha.
end of work time.
Yeah, no, awesome. I'm glad to hear that. You'll probably see me puttering around outside every now and then.
Great. Madam Clerk, I take everything's in order for this license application?
Yes.
Great. Manager Parrillo, any comments? Thank you. Any further discussion on the license? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Capaldi,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima,
Yes,
4 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
congrats. Thank you.
Thank you.
Looking forward to a cup. Members of the council, at this time, I'd like to seek a motion to take the agenda out of order.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Motion by Vice President LeBlanc, second by Councilmember Shockley. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Capaldi. Yes. Councilmember Shockley.
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes.
4 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
At this time, I will seek a motion to go into executive session for the following: executive or closed session pursuant to Rhode Island General Law, Section 42-46-5A1, follow-up re-disability retirement of Police Officer Jason Jordan. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Vice President LeBlanc,
I'll second.
second by Councilmember Shockley. Discussion. You can just confirm that we've done all the notification and it's all, okay. Okay, thank you. If there's no further discussion, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Capaldi. Yes. Councilmember Shockley.
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes.
4 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Members of the public who are going to remain, we will be back shortly. We just have one item for executive session. Thank you.
Here's my card. I think. Oh, we've already done that. And we bought it. We bought it. Used cars were like 4 times the price. It's awful. They're still up there though. You know, luckily we were cash. We had to get a loan, and the rates were like 7%.
Could I have a motion to come out of executive session?
I'll make that. motion.
Second.
Motion by Vice President Blank, second by Councilmember Shockley. Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Capaldi,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc,
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes.
4 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Could I have a motion to seal the minutes of executive session?
Make the motion.
Motion by Vice President Blank,
Second.
second by Councilmember Shockley. Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Capaldi,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc,
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes.
4 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Members of the public, the council met in executive session pursuant to Rhode Island General Law, Section 42-46-5A1, follow-up redisability retirement of police officer Jason Jordan. A discussion was had, 1 vote was taken. Madam Clerk, can you please announce the vote and results, please?
There was a motion. Let me go back and read it. There was authorized the execution of a memorandum of agreement between the town of Coventry and Detective Jason
Believe, Madam Clerk, I think the motion in executive session was a motion to approve the disability pension based upon the IME
Okay,
and,
That one, it should be further up in your notes.
and subject to the terms and conditions of the labor collective bargaining agreement.
It was a motion to approve the disability pension pursuant to the IME and the union compensation package. The motion was by Vice President Blank and seconded
Second
by
by
Councilmember Shockley.
and it was 4-0.
Great, thank you. That being said, we're going to move on to resolutions. Resolution of the town council affirming the execution of a memorandum of agreement between the town of Coventry and Detective Jason Jordan for an injured on duty pension. This is resolution number 2020. What?
I think we were striking the word.
I'm going to amend it.
Yeah, we're gonna amend it.
Okay.
Yep. Resolution 2024-36. This is on page 18 of 31 in our packets. To get discussion going, do I hear a motion?
Make a motion. I'll second it.
Motion by Vice President Blank, second by Councilmember Shockley. Discussion.
Madam President, and members of the council, I would recommend that you amend the language to reflect that it is a resolution 2024-36 authorizing the execution of a memorandum of agreement between the town of Coventry and Detective Jason Jordan for a service-connected disability retirement.
I make a motion to amend.
Motion by Councilmember Shockley,
I'll second it.
second by Councilwoman Capaldi. Discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Capaldi,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes.
4 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Mr. Solicitor, I believe we need to amend the language in lines 33 and 34 too. Or are we going to, or were you just talking about the title of the resolution this whole time? Yeah, I think that lines 33 and 34 may need to be amended, or is it in line with what I don't think it is.
Yeah,
The now therefore
Right.
section.
it should indicate, now therefore be resolved.
I was thinking that the Honorable Town Council authorized the execution of a memorandum of agreement for a service-connected disability retirement pension between Detective Jason Jordan and the town of Coventry. Did I get it all?
I think you did.
Okay,
That is the paragraph, numeral number 1 at the bottom after be resolved, right?
yes, 33, lines 33 and 34. Do I hear a motion to make the amendment?
Make a motion.
Motion by Vice President Lake,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Capaldi. Any discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Capaldi,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes.
4 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
We now move to the resolution as amended. Any further discussion on the resolution? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Capaldi,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes.
4 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Thank you. We'll stick with resolutions. Item A, Resolution 2024-35, approving a purchase of a tractor loader backhoe for the Department of Parks and Recreation. This is pages 16 to 17 in your packet. Do I hear a motion to approve the resolution?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Vice President LeBlanc,
Second.
second by Councilmember Shockley. Discussion. Director Blumenthal.
We need this for our fields and for general maintenance. Prior to 2016, we had 3 front loaders, and then throughout time, they've broken or we had to get rid of them. So this replaces the equipment we had.
Any discussion or questions for Director Blumenthal? Councilmember Shockley.
Just to be clear, you had thought we needed to allocate $115,000 for this, and it comes out to just under 89,000.
Correct. So originally I did a different brand, but after looking at other brands, I found this at a reduced rate. So we decided to do that as well. To save the town
That's
money.
appreciated. $26,000 difference leaves us with more ARPA funds to be able to disperse.
Manager Parrillo, I take it this went through MPA process?
Yes, it did.
Okay. Any further questions? Councilwoman Capaldi.
Out of curiosity, you said you had 3. How many do you have now?
1.
So this will be 2?
This will be 2, and it's newer technology, and
So it's going to be the master one?
it is.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any further discussion on the resolution? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Capaldi,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc,
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes.
4 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to introduction of new matters before the council. Item A, discussion and or action in regards to Western Coventry Fire Districts for funds. I assume that's supposed to say request for funds that the town of Coventry received from the opioid settlement. This is on pages 19 to 20 in our packets. Do we have someone here from Western Coventry Fire District who would like to speak? Whether are they on Zoom or in person?
I'm Skip Rays. I'm the moderator of the fire district. I wasn't anticipating this great opportunity, but I'm here to answer any questions. I cannot speak on behalf of the board, but I am familiar with the request.
Thank you. Manager Parrillo, any comments?
So the council affirmed the 3 other districts an allocation from the opioid settlement money. And this is just the 4th one that Western Coventry's put forward. They're requesting $60,680 for medications and equipment, very similar to what the other 3 fire districts were requesting. So this is their official ask from Chief Keady.
Discussion from the council. Vice President LeBlanc.
How much will the town have after, if this was to get approved, of those funds?
We had 490 in total before these 4 disbursements. So I think these are average about 65,000 each. And we just got notification we're getting another $50,000 next month. So probably a little over 300,000 maybe,
Got it.
maybe left over.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Do we want to do the contingent on the MOU like we did with the others?
Oh, that's not in part. Okay, sorry. I thought that was part of it since we had done it for the other ones. But yeah, contingent upon receipt. Right?
Receipt with and how did we do it before?
They sign a memorandum and they provide us the receipts and then we reimburse them.
Okay.
Yep.
Upon receipt and signature on the
MOU.
MO. Yep. Memorandum of understanding.
Motion by Vice President Blank,
I'll second it.
second by Councilmember Shockley. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Capaldi,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc,
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes.
4 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Thank you.
Sir. Moving on.
Can I just ask a
Oh, yeah, sure.
question outside of this. Manager Parrillo, with these funds, do we have a time limit to when we can spend them?
I don't believe there's any restrictions. It keeps coming. I think some of them are over the next 10 years, we're going to be getting some money sporadically. So I don't think there's any requirements on spending them by a certain date or not.
That's great.
Moving on to item B, under introduction of new matters. Approval of Narragansett Electric to be granted permission to locate and maintain poles, wires, and fixtures, including the necessary sustain and protecting fixture to be owned and used in common by you petitioner along and across the following public ways. A, Nicholas Road, relocating pole line to opposite side of road for RIDOT. B, Maple Valley Road, relocating pole line to opposite side of road for RIDOT, 430 feet primary and neutral for a total of 3 spans. C, Town Farm Road, install a new riser, pole 38 to 50 for new development, quote, Boyd Brook. D, Windrow Platte Drive, install anchor guy at P42 with 15-foot lead north with updated map. And E, Station Street, install new stub pole P6-84 to replace tree guy with updated map. This is pages 21 to 31 in your packets. Do I hear a motion to approve the request?
Make a motion.
Motion by Councilor Shockley,
I'll second.
second by Vice President
Are
Blank.
we doing this as a block?
Do we want to?
I think so.
So I'll just ask that motion first. Is there a motion to approve the request as a block?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Vice President Blank,
A second.
second by Councilor Shockley. Any discussion on approving as a block? Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Capaldi,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes.
4 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Do I hear a motion to approve the poll requests? Councilor Shockley,
I'll second.
Yes.
second by Vice President Blank. Discussion on the request. Manager Parrillo, any comments?
No, we don't have any concerns with these poll locations.
Any discussion from the council? Councilor Shockley?
Just that I do appreciate that it seems Rhode Island Energy has decided to add a bit to certain drawings in order to let us know where a house would be located. It looks like a tree, and so we can do a better job of knowing if this is impactful to the people who live on the street. If we could reach out to Miss Pollich, I don't know that that's the pronunciation of her name, and just thank her and ask for this type of information going forward, I think that would be great.
Vice President Blank?
To dovetail off of that, I think we should do a proclamation for Miss Ludwig on getting that change through.
She persevered.
The legacy. Any further discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Capaldi,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes.
4 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Moving on to report of the town manager. 2 items this evening, discussion on impact fees and on clerk fees. Manager Parrillo.
So the council asked me to provide some updates on these 2 categories. So regarding impact fees, just to give a little background on what an impact fee does. Obviously, its job is to fund the town's public facility capital improvements affected by new development. So it doesn't have any effect on any financial burden on existing taxpayers, but at the same time is preparing ourselves for the future. So in my limited research, I found the latest information was it was established, if you want to say established, back as far as I can go back is 2000 is when they established a 7596 fee for impact fees. That was based on 3 categories: education, parks and rec, and road improvements. That totaled 7596. They revisited it in 2010. They kept the 7596 after they did their study, but they broke it down into the 8 categories that we currently have, which include schools, public works, law enforcement, parks and rec, library government, other public facilities, human services, and sewer. So again, the same number, but instead of 3 categories, it was broken into 8 categories. In 2020, another impact fee study was done, which reduced the impact fee to 58.54 based on a formula that involves 5 years of capital improvements along with other upgrades that the town feels is necessary over those coming years. So what I can do is I can put another study together if the council wants and get back to you regarding what a new impact fee would be, or if the current one is actual. The biggest thing I noticed in the 2020 study was that they didn't include any money for sewer expansion. So as you know, in our facilities plan, we have over $118 million in sewer upgrades over the next 20 years. So depending on how much of that is going to be part of the next 5 years, that may be a big factor into that number growing from the 58.54 that it is currently. So I'm going to start that process and hopefully have that study back to you for the May 14th meeting.
Discussion on impact fees from the council. Councilor Shockley.
It can be done that quickly? What's the process?
It's just plugging in numbers. So you get the 5-year capital plan for each department. You utilize that. Other things that aren't part of the capital plan that are needed improvements to the town. For instance, what was in there from 2020 was an upgrade to town hall and the library. That doesn't come under any particular department, but it was part of that formula that they utilized. So it'll break down what all the capital projects are over the next 5 years, what the monetary number is for those. Then it calculates CIP, number of households, and that divides it and comes up with a number as to what the future impact of development will be in the town. They do have companies that do this for you, but I really don't think we need to expend that amount of money. I think we can just do it internally.
Vice President Blank.
Do we already have the school's information? Because they're going to have to submit some impact fees, well, at least capital improvements. That would
We have the
impact.
school's 5-year plan.
You already have it?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I just wanted to make sure I didn't have to go through the school committee.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Any further discussion on impact fees? Clerk fees.
Clerk fees. So Joanne's team did a study, which I passed out to you guys and girls. Cranston, Cumberland, Johnston, North Providence, Smithfield, South Kingston, and West Warwick. Those are the other municipalities that we utilized. I know earlier I had said I thought the Rhode Island League was conducting their own study, but I was incorrect. It's actually the Division of Municipal Finance that is conducting their own study. But we put together our own study at zero cost, besides Joanne's talented people. Just basically shows what we currently charge, what other places currently charge. In talking to Director Civetti, we don't have a lot of meat on the bone, if you want to say here. I mean, we can increase the fees, but I think you're talking a nominal difference. The real difference would be if the town decided to implement a business license for all businesses. Well, I think there's 1,100 or 1,200 businesses in town, according to the Secretary of State. If we imposed something like that and made every business in town get a license, whether it's $25, $50, whatever the fee is. So we would have that information readily available, along with having a way of tracking. And Mr. Civetti also brought up that it really gives you some leverage when it comes to tangible tax. Because right now, if people don't pay their tangible tax, we really have no hammer, if you want to say. So I think instituting a business license may be a good way to allow some accountability on the behalf of all businesses in town, generate a little bit of revenue, and again, have that recourse if there is some issue with someone's tangible license. As it is, we're probably talking, if you raise these fees, you may be talking maybe $5,000 or so you may be able to get in addition to what we currently get in order to be kind of middle ground. So that's kind of where we are with the licenses compared to what other municipalities charge. So I think it's worth looking into a little bit further. When the municipal finance study comes out, I'll include those numbers as well. But I think the real difference, if you want to hold people accountable and at the same time, raise a little bit of revenue would be to establish a business license for the entire town.
Discussion, questions from the council? Councilmember Shockley.
So just in looking at these and the towns that seem to stand out, like, you know, Cranston's are much higher, but I think they have so much business. Is that how they attract these sort of fees? They have more,
Yeah, Cranston has
Shoppers.
nearly 40,000 people than we do. So, yeah.
they have a lot more people, but they have a lot of retail. Like they do quite
Yeah.
well in that city.
I would say, aside from Smithfield and Cranston, all these other municipalities on here are considered our like peer municipalities based on many factors.
Yeah. I would say with the number of businesses that you have listed on here, my preference would be to charge, did you say 1,200 businesses, Sam?
The last time I heard a number, I know the EDC was doing a study a couple of years ago when I was watching Zoom meetings, and they had mentioned that the Secretary of State identified 1,200 businesses in Coventry.
So, you know, I would rather not gouge 5 businesses out $500 more, and instead charge all the businesses $25. Seems, I thought the tangible tax was going away, but it seems like it would give, if it gives an incentive as well for being able to collect other taxes from these businesses, I think it's a more economic on a per business basis than, like I said, I wouldn't want to take 19 businesses and raise them $1,000 a year because another town does.
So the tangibles being, if you want to say supplemented, so the first $50,000 is being waived, but there still is tangibles above that. That could hold people accountable for.
What's going to be the difference if, in terms of the revenue, if we go the route of the license for every business in terms of the tangible income? What prospectively could that be?
I don't know.
What, because you said we have no recourse for those that aren't licensed with us.
So like how
what's-
much aren't we collecting intangible now?
Oh, yeah, what are we potentially missing out on?
Yeah, I don't have that number.
This was,
For the next meeting, we can certainly get you a list of the
Yeah.
outstanding tangibles. But just today, in dealing with the tax collector, we had several businesses that were in a strip mall that owe all the tangible tax, and we were trying to figure out how we can go and collect that because they were looking for some improvements to the building overall. But obviously, the owner of the real estate was not the owner of the businesses. So at that point, we had no recourse to go after the businesses separately for the tangible. Whereas if we have an annual business license, you can certainly, you know, this council could approve the license on an annual basis. If they haven't paid their tangible taxes, you could withhold that license pending collection. So it just gives you that additional.
how much does that add in work? Could our clerk's office handle that?
We would probably need to hire a part-time staffer, I would think, to help with that. If
Okay.
you're talking 1,000 businesses, keeping track of 1,000 businesses, contact information, owners, as people change ownerships and so forth, I would think we probably need some part-time help to get that done.
Any further discussion? Okay. Moving on to report of other town officers and officials. Item A, Kevin McGee, Public Works Director. We have discussion on yard waste option and discussion on transfer station upgrade. Director McGee. Manager Parrillo, can you just let the public know there was some confusion about what these items were about? We received some emails. Could you just
Sure,
clarify?
the transfer station upgrades that Director McGee is going to speak about involves the actual transfer station here at the DPW complex. It is not the potential site off of Reed Schoolhouse that that has been discussed over the years. That's a whole different project in its entirety. This has no bearing on that potential new facility in years to come. This is strictly what's here on the premise, upgrading it. As the council asked on different ways to improve sanitation, this is one way to improve sanitation, is to make the transfer station more viable. It allows us to have less traffic up to the landfill in Johnston, less wear and tear on the trucks. So I think this is, the transfer station upgrades is one piece of the puzzle to help with the whole sanitation issue that we've been discussing the last several months.
Director McGee, the floor is yours.
Good evening. Based upon, as town manager had indicated, at the direction of the council, looking at alternative ways of trying to extend the life of our sanitation fleet and to become and make the town more viable in our collection services. One of the things that we looked at, and it's done in other communities, is to actually do as a pay-as-you-throw program for yard waste bags. And as I had the presentation, I don't know if you want me to read this or if you want to look at it and any questions you might have, but basically this would, we located a company that we can purchase compostable labels to put on the bags, similar to what you have there. We would then be able to limit the bags to just 12 per household. And towards the back, you'll see we just started collecting yard waste bags again as of April 15th, one full week. And we're already getting inundated with phone calls about, you haven't picked up my yard waste yet. Well, we just started. It's going to take a few weeks to be able to get caught up. And you can see the pictures there. We've got stops that we counted 125 bags at one stop. Another one was 75 bags. It just takes time for the drivers to be able to load them, and then it takes space. So an area that we should be doing, and I'll use Wood Estates because Mr. Shockley is aware, we have some stops that we would probably look at doing a dozen roads in that area, but because of these stops, they're only able to do 4 or 5 because they have to get back to empty the truck, wash and fuel, because they only do this between when they finish their routes to 2:30 before they have to get ready. So there's only an hour and a half in between. Part of the recommendation for the transfer station upgrade, as we requested back in 2022 with the ARPA funds, we went out to bid to purchase container boxes. We have the compactor unit that's there that's owned by Rambone Disposal. When we transitioned from the normal pickup we had before to the automated, we ended the contract with them, and we were bringing the trucks for trash and recycling to the landfill. Well, within the last year and a half, they have started to expand the landfill, and the entire roadway system inside is atrocious, and it's damaging not only our vehicles but also other communities. So this would limit, instead of having 4 trash trucks climbing the hill to empty, we would have just one truck, a roll-off truck, going up there and emptying that on a regular basis. By them being able to dump here at the transfer station, they wouldn't have to be taking the time to drive up there, get weighed, wait in line, empty, and then come back. That reduces their time. They'll actually gain an additional hour at the end of each day to pick up additional yard waste bags so that we don't have that backup that we had in the past. So we're looking at alternatives to try to do this. Rambone will sell the compactor unit to us, or they'll actually lease it also. My suggestion is we just buy it outright because we'll save considerably on the price. They own the compact, but we own the building over top of it. So it didn't make any sense for them to take the building down, and I definitely wasn't going to take the building down. So the compactor sat there. It was serviced 2 years ago when we looked at the ARPA request. Now we will have it serviced again, but it's sitting there and it's ready to go. And other than buying the boxes, the receiver boxes, that could be anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks before we receive it, and then that process can start, and we can get caught up and stay caught up on the yard waste bags. And also look at the reduction here. So people that use the yard waste bags would actually be the people that pay for it rather than everybody in the community. One of the caveats to this is that we're offering to not charge anybody if you have the containers or barrels. Just for the bags, that would be the $1. By having the containers used, once we started the automated, we've had 0 workman's comp claims for injuries. And the only injuries or times that we've been out is when they're collecting yard waste bags, because they're filled, as you can see one of the pictures there, they're filling it with soil. So that's weight, and that's where our guys get injured. So if they use the automated arm, there's no charge for it. However, if you do the bags, you're going to be charged for the bags, and it'll be based upon a maximum 12 bags per week. That's my suggestion.
So
Yes.
based on what you're telling us, yard waste pickup is still happening.
Oh, yeah.
You can do it with the approved yard waste containers.
Correct.
And you also have the option, based on just quickly reading through this, to bring it to the transfer station yourself.
Oh,
at no
yeah,
charge.
absolutely. That's correct.
The only difference would be you'd have to have the purchase stickers
Correct.
for $1 to put on the bags in order for them to be picked
And
up.
if they didn't have the stickers on them, they wouldn't pick them up. So
Vice President Blank.
And just to clarify, I think you said 12 yard bags, but that's per week though.
for a week, yes,
So they could actually have more than just 12.
Oh,
I
yeah,
just
they
wanted
only-
to clarify anybody watching.
correct. They'd only have to be able to pick up 12 per week.
And then can you just, how much is it for one of the plastic containers?
$105.
It's $105 one
We're
time.
told it's a one-time charge, and that's our cost. We don't make a dime on that. So
Got it. Got it. Yeah, no, I fully support this approach. Do you have an estimate of how much revenue this would actually bring in? I'm not saying it's going to be a lot, but any idea?
we're estimating the revenue. We're not looking so much how much we're going to make.
It's more so of kind of
It's
containing.
10,000. It's containing the injuries and also being able to get the yard waste picked up on
Got
a
it.
timely basis.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Councilmember Shockley.
So it's $1 a bag,
Mhm.
which is less expensive, I'm pretty sure, than if I went to pick up the bags myself. So this is a purchase people are already making, even if we're taking their yard waste. So one thing I wanted to clarify, we'll pick up the bags with the stickers every week.
Correct.
We'll pick up the bags, or we'll pick up the blue containers every week.
Or light container.
If you go to drop them off yourselves, can you use any bag, or do you still need to use these bags?
No, you can use any bag.
Okay, I wasn't
This is
sure
only
when
for
you said
pickup.
that.
This is only for pickup.
So, I think this is a great idea. You know, even as a person who utilizes this service, I think it's stupid. So, you know, we have an issue where people look at tax rates and they compare them to other towns. I don't think there are many towns around us that pick up garbage at all. Don't worry about picking up your yard waste as well. Every blade of grass you've ever mowed in your life, if you live in my neighborhood. So I think limiting it like this, so we can actually, do we think we can actually get it picked up based on these limits? Like we could pick it up every week?
It all depends on how many people have bags. Our goal is to be able to pick it up for the majority, no more than a 2-week turnaround. It all depends on what we have. This is all speculation. We haven't done this in the past, but I can tell you that other communities that are doing this are charging by the pound. South Kingston is charging $1.25 per bag. There's some communities that are actually limiting them to just 2 bags per week, and there's a $45 cost for them to buy per month.
No, I think it's great that we've made a caveat for those people who have already bought the bins. My one PR thing I would want to speak to is limiting people to bags. There may be an expectation that we'll be able to get them more regularly.
Yes.
So let's kind of maybe test a little in the short run.
In conjunction with the transfer station, if you folks agree to that also, that will give them an additional hour plus per day to be able to pick up yard waste. So combined with reducing the overall, people putting out 75 to 100 bags to the transfer station, eliminating them, wasting the time, traveling, waiting in line, dumping, and then getting back, and then go collect yard waste. They'll be able to collect it as soon as they dump their trash here at the transfer station. They can go right out to do yard waste. So a combination, we should, I don't want to make a promise that I can't keep, but right now with what we're proposing, they won't have this 3-4 week backlog on yard waste bags.
Councilwoman Capaldi.
So this means that you guys won't pick up the brown paper bags that have like leaves and stuff?
That's what we're talking about.
Eliminating that.
No, if you don't have a sticker, we won't pick them up. If you have the sticker,
So the sticker could be on that brown paper bag?
that's
too?
what it's for, yeah, the bags.
Okay, but they don't have to buy the bags from,
We don't sell the bags.
okay, I didn't know
Yeah.
that. So how many bags can you guys pick up at one time?
Well, can we, or what the proposal is? Proposal
the
is no,
proposal?
is no more than 12 per week.
So what if they have 25 bags?
They're gonna have to leave it in the backyard until the next. till
So
the next week.
basically, you guys will just pick up the
The-
12
the
and
12.
leave the remaining there?
That's correct. There's gotta be a cutoff point somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, I
you.
think the idea based on the pictures he showed is that we have some people abusing the system.
And that's just one week, one day in that large pile you see from the top. That's just one day of collecting leaves. And it's just getting out of control. If it wasn't for the yard waste collection, the bane of my existence, I'd have no complaints at all coming to the public works.
Is this a coupon for me to get a sticker? What is this?
No, this is the actual.
Oh, that's what the sticker is gonna look like.
That's what it's gonna look like. And it's what that is a.
I didn't know if this was a gift card or
No, no.
support this, it can't be financed or what.
I'm not gonna buy your vote for dollar, but but this is compostable stickers that we're gonna purchase so that they can go on the bags and still be able to go compost, and they're not gonna be rejected by resource recovery. So. Yes, ma'am.
So I understand from your answer earlier that we're not trying to profit off of this.
Not at all.
But if we could get some understanding of the savings we might see because of it, it would be interesting to see.
I could give you speculation, but I just can't give a hard number because we haven't done it in the
Well,
past.
just in saying, say we're picking up 12 bags, average number of households we normally pick bags from, do that out over the course of time in which we'd collect and compare it to what we're doing now and see what it might save us in the poundage.
I can give you an estimation, yes.
Oh yeah, that's all I can expect.
Quick question. If this is rolled out, what is the plan to communicate with those who put out bags that don't have the sticker? They may not be aware, like, because nothing's worse than when they stay out forever, get wet, the bag breaks, it rolls down the street, it gets in everybody else. Do we have a plan for that?
We do. We were looking at not only our town website, but also all of the Facebook posts that we were able to do and doing a mailing to those people that throughout the town and taking an ad out, the reminder so that everybody gets it. So, other than that.
Councilman Capaldi.
I was going to say something similar to that. I just know people in my neighborhood, they're always angry about their garbage. I thank God I live with a bunch of woods behind me, so everything just goes in there. But I really think
Not
that-
garbage, just
No, not garbage. Grass, leaves.
I'm with you. I haven't thrown
A
out
dead
yard waste bag
plant.
since I've lived in Coventry.
I think that you guys are gonna have to do a little bit more like a PR promotion, something bigger, because not everyone looks at your website, the town's website. I will lend my Facebook page to you guys to put some stuff out.
And we'll do a mailing out to everybody also.
Oh, okay,
And then-
cool.
And then also taking that out reminders.
when did we plan on starting this?
Well, if I get positive response from the council, we'd like to get this thing rolled out by July 1. This gives enough time to be able to get this PR out and then be able to get the boxes, if you agree to that, to get them ordered and get them delivered 6 to 8 weeks. And we already went out to an IFB for that. I have it ready to go for the next town council meeting. If you approve it, it'll come before you for the resolution.
Manager Parrillo.
I think the only regarding expectations, I think this program is definitely a win-win. Obviously, the factors that also need to take part are manpower. Kevin's down 4 guys right now. Trucks, I think we're down 3 or 4 trucks. So obviously, I think all of these factors also play a role in how quickly yard waste is able to get picked up. I know the 2 weeks is the goal, but sometimes things are out of our domain that we just can't plan for. Again, injuries, people on vacation, trucks being down. So I think this is definitely a step in the right direction. I just don't think we can say this is like the holy grail and it's going to solve all of our problems. I think it's going to be a multitude of different things that we try in order to make this whole process better.
I agree. That's our goal, to make this thing better and extend the life of the trucks so that we have, thank to you folks, we have the 3 trucks ordered for the lease to extend the life, but we have to get to that point, and that's 18 to 24 months away. So doing this will save the trucks from the wear and tear at the landfills. We'll be down to just 1 truck going up on a hill.
Anything else on yard waste? All right.
And I'll have you ask or let the town manager know what your decision is to move forward and give us some direction so we can start the process. Thank you.
All right, thanks. We'll move on to update from the finance director. Mr. Civetti?
So we had a call today with the Auditor General regarding our current status with the 22 audit, 23 audit, the budget. It was a whole slew of items that he and Steve Coleman from Municipal Finance have concerns over. So an update, the goal is to have CLA here on May 14th to present the final draft of 22. That same week, they're also going to be out either here or the schools to start 23 with an aggressive goal of having that done by the end of June. 23 by the end of June. So the Auditor General also thinks it's a very aggressive timeline. CLA thinks if everything is done and ready to go, they can hit that mark. So I don't think Vice President is satisfied with that.
Satisfied with that date. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. So that's the goal. So 22, May 14th, 23, end of June, and obviously right into 24. So we're working with them. We had our joint meeting with the school department today as well. As you saw, we did submit a letter to the Auditor General on Friday. They kind of wanted an update as to where we are. As of right now, well, as of Friday, when we submitted the letter, the school's deficit was 1.6 million. They had told us all along and the Auditor General that things were going according to plan, revisiting timing, a lot of different factors, they said. Friday afternoon, it was 1.6 they were short. As of Friday night, they were only short 1.1. As of this afternoon, they're only short 770,000. So they are continuing to work on their numbers. The Auditor General is looking for a report from us and the school department by Friday, budget to actuals where we are. And if there is still a deficit on the school side, the Auditor General would like a deficit reduction plan put in play. Regarding the budget, he had some serious concerns that the school department is trending towards having a repetitive deficit with the amount of funding that we are giving them this year. So in a very small piece of what he said, basically he told the school that they need to cut expenses, and he told the town side that we need to relook at our local appropriation. He made it pretty vague, if you want to say. Obviously, it's not his role or Steve Coleman's role to tell us what to do, but they do have concerns that the school could potentially be running a deficit for years to come. So 2 years ago, they were short 600,000. Last year, they were plus 37,000. As of right now, they're 770,000 short. And without any kind of solid numbers, who knows if we're going to be carrying that into 25. So that was his overall message to us, was for the schools and the town to put our heads together and solve this potential financial problem. So with that, I'll turn it over to Director Civetti, and he can give you some more information or answer any questions.
Yeah, so again, I think the town manager explained it pretty clear. The real concern of the Auditor General is basically a structural deficit within the school department, saying how we really need to collaborate with the school and work to try to how to resolve that issue. They understand based on the teacher's contract next year, I believe the increase was 3.25% in the budget for next year. So just seeing that alone, wondering how that's going to be covered, especially if they're currently running a deficit of about 770,000. I will say that Superintendent Cowart during today's meeting indicated that he thinks that numbers can't come down significantly more. He's still comfortable that they're going to break even this year, or maybe at least be a lot closer than the 770. Just the methodology that the finance director at the school was utilizing to project the deficit was somewhat misrepresentative of what may happen based on the timing of some expenses. He was just really prorating everything throughout the whole course of the year rather than looking at the actual timing. So again, as town manager mentioned, the state at this time indicated, it's not their position, or they don't have the ability to come in and tell us, the town council, of how to budget, but they hope that we can work with the school department. They can make some necessary cuts. Council can find a way to increase the appropriation to the school department to at least help them succeed next year. And then obviously they would like to see the school department go forward with their, at least examining the reorganization plan that they had put forward so that there could be potential savings. The Auditor General did specifically make note that that was on the table 6 months ago, and then it fell off the table for whatever reasons. So he thinks that it would be in the best interest of town overall to have the school readdress that for the next coming, several months, to try to get that implemented at least for fiscal 2026 in some form, which will help to try to eliminate that structural deficit.
Any questions on the update from the Auditor General? All right. Moving to public comment for undocketed items. Are there members of the public here in council chambers who'd like to make a public comment on an undocketed item? Just come forward to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Just make sure the microphone's switched on.
Hello, can you hear me okay? All right. My name's Nicholas Farrow. I live at 6 Hillcrest Drive here in Coventry. And I just wanted to address a few issues. I live in the new development off of Tioga Lane or Tioga Road. And there's been a number of issues that have come up related to some staff in this municipal government that have dropped the ball on things, and then also some staff that have completely neglected their responsibilities in carrying things out that are required by both law and building code. And there's a number of us that have been going through this, but it's my understanding that when a developer decides to do this, to build a bunch of new homes, that they have to submit a plan to the town, and that plan goes to all of these different departments for approval, goes to the town engineer. One of the things specifically the town engineer looked at was the water drainage plans. I had a ton of issues with water drainage. I know there's other people over there that maybe have come to these meetings and talked about it, but I'm on the lowest side on one side of the neighborhood. So all the water from everybody's yards just drains into the back of mine. And I had contact with the town engineer. I don't have everybody's names anymore, but I had contact with the town engineer. The town engineer came out to my home with the plans for water drainage and said, "You're right. The plans that he submitted that we approved are that, the water's supposed to drain around your house, not all into your backyard." So he told me that that was a civil issue between me and the developer. But then I guess the question would be, well, why do we have a town engineer then if people can just build and follow whatever plan they want? There's no, the developers, he's not going to come. He refused to even put a drain in my backyard. I had to pay thousands to put that in. So I'm just wondering, I don't know if that's like really a rhetorical question or not, but, we're paying him to do a job. He's not doing it. The plan that was approved is not the plan that was put into action, but yet now I'm stuck chasing the developer. That doesn't sound right. The other issue, which I've spoken about before, is the issue with streetlights. So we have none. And it took me bouncing around to so many people in this government that were telling me all sorts of different reasons why that is. And finally, what it came down to is there's a code, town code, that says that one of the departments that those plans get sent to is the fire department. The fire department makes a decision about whether or not a neighborhood needs streetlights. I finally got a hold of Chief Warren. He says, "You've been lied to. We don't do that." So that never happened. There's no proof it even got to his desk. We don't know what happened. Somebody dropped the ball. So now we have no streetlights. Our neighborhood's pitch black because somebody dropped the ball. Okay. the building inspector. So I started having issues with leaking in my basement through the tie rod holes, which are what they put in the basement for the forms for the foundation. And I'm not the only one. There's multiple people throughout the neighborhood that are having these issues with water leaking into their basement. So I started doing a little digging. I called the town. It wasn't Chuck, the building inspector. I guess it was one of his colleagues that told me that, oh yeah, Chuck's been meaning to get back to you, but he saw some really concerning things. So of course I want to know what that is. And when I finally talk with Chuck, he tells me that a backfill inspection was never done on my home. A backfill inspection is required by building code, by Rhode Island law, by international building code. It is required to issue a certificate of occupancy for a home. So is it the town engineer that issues a certificate of occupancy, or is it the town building official? Anybody know the answer to that? It's the building official. So your building official is issuing certificate of occupancies without the required inspections. My home also, I dug down, so it's supposed to be damp proofed. Again, that's building code, Rhode Island building code. I can look it up right now and read it to you. It's supposed to be damp proofed. I dig 2.5 feet down. There's no damp proofing on my foundation. Other people, they dig down. There's no damp proofing. They're getting leaks. They called the town. A number of people found out they also didn't have the required inspections done. And yeah, I mean, this is kind of like a big issue. Like, why does Chuck Phelps have a job is my question. Because what he told me is that the building, according to building code, the developer has to request that they come out and do the backfill inspection. And according to the developer, they did. The building official, the building inspector, has 48 hours to get out there and conduct the inspection. And if they can't, then it's on the developer to say, okay, I'm going to hire a third party engineer, whoever, to go out and do the backfill inspection. Because again, required by law, required by building code. And then it specifically states, which I'll read this off to you real quick from Rhode Island general law on building code. 1 second. So it says, if the building official fails to perform an inspection within the time frame set forth in this section, which again is the 48 hours, the contractor or builder may hire a qualified third-party inspector or the state inspector. The building official shall accept reports of such inspections. So that means that the developer would have had to submit to your building inspector the required inspections. That never happened. So why are they issuing certificates of occupancy for homes that are in violation of building code, that didn't have the correct inspections done? And then this guy just keeps his job and, you know, he doesn't care. He told me that if the builder backfills before they can get out and do the inspection, then any issues with the house later on fall on the builder. Well, they don't fall on the builder. They fall on the person that buys the house, because now I have to go after this guy and sue him because the town didn't go out and do their inspections and make sure that there was damp proofing, that the backfill wasn't being used. I was getting sinkholes all over the place in my yard, and you have to use, like, you can't backfill with big stones. There were big stones under there. You cannot backfill with just pieces of construction. Like if there's like wood left over, vinyl siding, whatever, there was that stuff in the holes. So it's like, you know, why does this guy have his job? What's going to be done about this? Who's going to look into the fact that they're issuing certificates of occupancy without the required inspections?
So I see you have your hand up. I do want to state, thank you for coming forward and bringing this to the council's attention. I just want to say, we legally cannot engage in a back and forth, because by open meetings law, we have to have listed this on the agenda. So I just want to be careful in terms of, so we don't violate state law. So Vice President Blank.
I slightly disagree. I've read OMA decisions that said that we can talk about it, we just can't take action on it. So we can have dialogue. I hear you. I apologize for what you're experiencing. I was just curious on when did you purchase your house?
March of 2023.
23.
And
Okay.
within months, there were issues with leaks in the basement. Yeah.
And I apologize that you have to come to a town council to raise this.
Oh, I've talked to the town manager through email. No one's taken any steps to address the fact that this was done this way, including him, and he knows about it.
I appreciate it. Thanks for
Yeah.
at least voicing it to us. I'll leave it at that for now.
Thank you. Right. I will follow up with the town manager. I appreciate you bringing this forward, but we legally cannot solve this here publicly.
But you're saying that someone will be looking into it, why this wasn't
I'll
done.
loop
I
in
mean,
with the town manager to see the history of the situation. This is my district. I'm familiar with
Yeah.
the misgivings of this developer with other projects. So it's not a surprise to hear this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further public comment, please come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record.
Kim Sturtle, 20 Catawba Way. I just have a quick question or a statement. I've emailed my town council and asked when we're going to get a update on exactly what the investigation into, I don't want to say wrongs being done, but when Lisa and Ben left, we were looking into the balance sheets where there was money that said there was expenditures on 1 year for the police department for the major when the major's position wasn't filled. And she said, well, the police department messed up and used the wrong line. And then there's rumors going around that there was money found in the safe and checks in the safe that wasn't deposited. I just want to know where we stand on all this investigation into the finances when they left.
I would say best bet would be to loop in with Manager Parrillo with your specific questions, and he can follow up with you from there.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public here in council chambers who have a public comment on undocketed items? Any members of the public on Zoom, raise your hand to be let in and unmute yourself and state your name and address for the record. Public comment on undocketed items. Going once, twice. We have one public comment. Please unmute yourself and state your name and address for the record. Unmute yourself and state your name and address for the record, please. Unless you no longer have public comment. Can you hear us? Going once. Going twice. 3 times. Last call, public comment on undocketed items on Zoom. Public comment is now closed. At this time, I will take a motion to adjourn at 7:22 p.m.
Make a motion.
Motion by Vice President Blank,
Second.
second by Councilman Capaldi. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The chair votes aye. We stand adjourned.